Good evening, everyone. It's good to be back here at God's house, gathered together again. So, in the bulletin, I was assigned to be the discussion leader. So, my description of discussion leader is ask questions and get the discussion going, point it in a direction, and then I'll sit back and learn what I can. So, I probably have more questions tonight than I have answers. So I'm going to be expecting people to talk and have their input. I kind of started off with a big topic, and I had to narrow it down because I got myself confused and didn't know which way to go with it. But what I started out with was, what is life? And that's too broad. I had to narrow it down. So I narrowed it down to, what is the purpose of life? And I guess the description, the meaning of purpose is reason for which something is done or created for. So I'd like 5 answers on what you think is the purpose of life. Anybody?
Bring glory and honor to our Creator.
Yes.
Build God's kingdom.
I like to think about it as being Jesus' hands and feet, since he's not here on earth.
So would that be serving God?
Serving others for him.
Mm-hmm. Two more.
I think the purpose that we were created for was to worship Him and to have a relationship with Him, because God desired that. So I'm not sure purpose for life would be that relationship with God. To bear fruit.
What kind of fruit? Or like, describe what you're thinking a little bit.
It would certainly include the fruit of the Spirit, but you could also say to produce and train and nurture the next generation.
That would kind of fall under the same category as serving God, correct? The fruits of serving God. Yeah, very good. So now, all of you that said that, why did you say? Where did you come up with that? Like, what made you say that? Like, do you have references for that, or what made your mind go that way?
I'll go first. I was thinking about discipleship.
See who else talked.
I think you were there Sunday morning, thinking about kingdom. One time Jesus said, "You are not far from the kingdom." That, like, he was inviting people into. That's one reason I said it. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, and then you're not far from the kingdom.
I guess the only thing I have to go back on would be creation and why, maybe one of the reasons why God created us was to show forth His glory and His creation.
defeated after the flood. And then in Psalm 78, talks of the things that God had done for the nation in past history, not being hidden from their children. This is God's law being established and appointed, commanded to their fathers that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, and keep his commandments.
Very good. You can keep thinking about yours, Keith. In Psalms 90, 9 and 10, for all our days are passed away. In thy wrath we spend our years as a tale that is told. The days of our years are 80 years and 10, and if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off and we fly away. Life is very short. I think we're reminded of that anywhere we look. What are we going to do with our life? Are we going to make a difference? Or are we going to just slide through life and get what's in life for us? I had 3 down here for a purpose, and you covered 2 of mine and 3 others, but I had glorify God. Isaiah 43:7, even every one that is called by my name, for I have created him from my glory. I have formed him, yea, I have made him. And the second one I have is serve God, for Samuel 12:24, only fear the Lord and serve him in truth with all your heart, for consider how great things he hath done for you. Then the third one I have is to enjoy. And I got that from 1 Timothy 6:17. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. I think God wants us to enjoy life. He wants us to serve him. He wants us to glorify him. And everything else that you said, but I also think he wants us to enjoy it. He created it for our pleasure. I mean, look around, the beauty that's around. Don't tell me that God doesn't want us to enjoy it. Did you think about yours more, Keith?
Some of your references clarified that he wants to be worshipped.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a purpose for us being alive and being created.
Yeah, absolutely. So I should say, I was going to say this at the beginning, but some of this is, I got scripture, and some of this is personal opinion of what I've seen. So I stand to be corrected if anything I say is wrong. So we're supposed to glorify God. We're made to glorify God, serve God, and to enjoy. What if if we don't have a purpose, what are we doing? Usually, no matter what you do in life, usually you have a purpose for it. You don't just you can get in your car and drive around just for the fun of it, but you had a purpose of just driving around. If we don't have a purpose, we're going to soon become discouraged, and what are we living for? I think it's very important that we have purpose in our life. There's a quote that I saw on a billboard, and I don't know if this is true or not, so take it for what it is, but it said there's nothing more powerful than purpose. I don't know if that's totally true, but I think it has some meaning. If we have purpose, there's not a lot that's going to stop us. If we have our purpose and it's the right thing to serve God and to glorify God, then we're going to have something to live for, something to go for. So, now what about unpleasant circumstances that we all have? What are we supposed to do with those? In Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. Not everything that happens is good to us. I mean, we can all have things that have happened to us that aren't good. What do you think it's referring to there in Romans? Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
I don't know that this side of heaven, we're always going to know what the purpose was. I know one thing, if we allow God to do his work in our lives, he'll come out at the other end the better. It's my experience.
Absolutely.
The next verse lists part of that purpose as us being conformed to the image of his Son. There's always a good possibility that a trial or difficulty is going to refine us in some way. Make us more like Christ. If we don't waste the opportunity.
If we don't waste the opportunity. That is correct.
I think it's a reminder to us that we're really not in control. Sometimes we need those reminders.
We think we got it figured out, and then we need to be told something different. And that's kind of what I came up with, is what you all said. I think if we look at it like something bad happened to me, aren't we looking at life like what's in it for me? It affected me in a bad way, but we're not. If we look at it like that, we're keeping our purpose in this life out of it. Am I right? So
It doesn't say if it works out for good, it doesn't say my good, our good, it says good.
Yeah, absolutely. And the little bit of digging into it I did on the verses, it's referring to the ultimate good that we may not currently see, but fits into a beautiful picture later in life, or we may not even see it in this life, but in eternity. Maybe it doesn't seem like it's helping us in any way. But have we ever thought about the possibility that maybe God is allowing this to happen so we can better serve Him? What better way to serve God than to serve others? And what better way to serve others than to have experienced similar things? So somebody's going through something. I don't, whatever you want to put in there. You pick the situation. And somebody that's been through that, 10 years older than them, is going to be able to empathize with them so much more than somebody that doesn't have a clue what they're struggling with. And I've noticed that in my life. Somebody that's been through something similar to me is so much more powerful to me, or it feels like they can understand me so much more. And maybe when difficult things come, maybe that's what God's preparing us for. We may have no clue what He has for us down the road. Maybe He has something big for us planned that we needed to go through this so we can better help Him later in life. And maybe it doesn't feel like it helps us, but if it's furthering His kingdom, I think pain and suffering is worth it. I believe that God is doing way more in our lives than we can ever see or imagine. We might see 1 or 2 or 3 things that are going on and like, well, this makes sense, but there might be 100 or 1,000 things that we don't have a clue what He's doing. And it all fits together for a beautiful picture, and at the time, we're like, why do we have to go through this? And yeah, I want to take Paul for example. What did Paul do with his life? Anybody? What would have been some things that happened to him, I guess I should say.
Stoned.
So I was thinking down the line of situations that he was used that at the time he could have seen no good in it. And probably when he was stoned, he probably didn't see any good in that either. Most of us probably wouldn't.
Looking at the jailer,
I have that one down.
One of his shipwrecks, I think he ended up healing a man.
Okay, I guess I don't have that one. But yeah, I think you might be right.
Being in prison for over 2 years in Caesarea, when he wanted to either be out on another missionary journey or at Rome to visit there.
Yeah, I have down. He was evil and out killing Christians, and then he was converted. That's one major thing that happened to him. Went from Saul to Paul, and in the jail of the Philippian jailer when they were singing. So when they were in the jail, when Paul and Silas were in the jail, do you think that jailer would have got saved if they wouldn't have been put in prison? Or jail, I should say. Do you think he saw that when they were locked up? That night when they got put in there, and they're like, well, we're going to save the jailer, so it's going to be all right. I don't think that's how it was. Or when he was in jail later in life, when he wrote a bunch of letters, would we have those letters if he hadn't been in jail at that time? I don't know. Probably not. But do you think he had any idea how many people he would help when he was writing those letters sitting in jail? Like, any idea? He wanted to be out on a missionary journey somewhere preaching to people. In his mind, I'm guessing that's probably what he thought was what I can do most with my life right now. But I think that's where God used him, and he, at the time, didn't even have a clue how far those letters were going to go. I mean, they've reached millions of people, where he might have reached thousands in his journey. And then also his thorn in the flesh. Did he ask God 3 times to have it removed? and God said no. Well, he could have been like, all right, well, fine, if you're not going to take it away, I give up, whatever. But he in 2 Corinthians 12:7-9, I'm going to read that now, but unless I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan, to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Christ may rest upon me. He could have definitely used that as an excuse, I think. He could have used that and be like, well, because of that I can't do whatever we want to put in there. But I feel like he made the best of what he had and used it, and he didn't sit around making excuses and sulking about what he couldn't do because of it. And I guess that's kind of my challenge for us. Like, when we're going through difficult things in life, let's remember our purpose and what we're here for. It might not be what we want to see right now. It might not be what we think is best. But let's just remember that our ultimate purpose in life is to glorify and serve God, and we need to do the best that we can with what we've been given. And when trials and hard times come, let's use them, and let's look for other people that are struggling with something that we've been through, and maybe we can help them. And then I think that's the ultimate way we can serve God. Turn the time over to Bert.